All 18 Big Ten teams, all 18 games, including 2 tonight, Friday night. We will tell you everything you need to know, and then we go on the record with our bold predictions, Pigskin Picks, all that in this episode of Locked On Big Ten.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Plus, share, like, and follow because that helps us out as well. And you can hype our YouTube videos as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets right now. So we're going to preview and we're going to handicap each and every Big Ten game. Plus, did you know that Lou Holtz and Ryan, they're still taking shots at each other? We'll tell you what that's all about. And then we'll close it out with our official Pigskin Picks. So what a great first week we had last week. That was very enjoyable. The Big Ten represented itself very well nationally. We're already excited about week 2. So let's pick up the action here. 2 games tonight. Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, are going to be taking on Northwestern at Northwestern. That's 7:30 Eastern time on the Big Ten Network. The Leathernecks lost to Illinois handily, 52-3, and Northwestern didn't do so well at Tulane. They lost that game 23-3. So both of these teams are still looking for their first touchdown of the season. By the way, Preston Stone with 4 interceptions last week, QBR rating of 9.2. It wasn't good. Maybe hand the ball off more to Cam Porter. This game will be off the shores of Lake Michigan on their campus there on their little makeshift stadium they got to use for one more year. Right now, low of 52 tonight with a 20-mile-an-hour breeze off of Lake Michigan for that one. Meanwhile, Northern Illinois is at Maryland. That is a 7:30 game Eastern time on the Big Ten Network. Remember, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last year. They barely got by Holy Cross last week, 19-17. Meanwhile, Malik Washington, he's the freshman quarterback from Maryland. We did a whole podcast on him this week. He is phenomenal. Had 3 touchdowns in his debut against Florida Atlantic in a 39-7 win, and got freshman of the week honors in the Big Ten. Plus, the Terps defense had 6 interceptions in that game. We'll see how many they get here tonight. They lead the country in interceptions. See if they keep that going. So those are the 2 games tonight. We'll make our picks on those games later on here in the podcast. So Saturday, tomorrow, stacks up like this. We got Florida International at number 2, Penn State. That'll be at noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Florida International coming off a 42-9 win over Bethune-Cookman. They had 456 yards of offense in that game. Meanwhile, Penn State had the 46-11 tune-up win over Nevada. This will be another tune-up game for them here this weekend. Drew Allar, remember Nick Singleton had a couple of touchdowns last week. Everybody touching the ball, getting used to it. They're going to have another one of these easy tune-up games next week when they have Villanova. Then they host Oregon. So all this is a warm-up to that big one early on. Number 11, Illinois. They are at Duke. Interesting point spread. I'll get to that in our Pigskin Picks later on. That'll be a 12 noon game on ESPN. Remember Manny Diaz. He's the head coach at Duke. He was the defensive coordinator with James Franklin and Penn State a few years ago. Aiden Lafferty had a big day, 11 yards per carry running the ball last week for 101 yards. I expect more of the same as Illinois beat Western Illinois 52-3. Brett Bielema's got this team ready to go. And Hank Beatty is another player to keep an eye on. Last week, 5 catches, 108 yards, had a 69-yard punt return for a touchdown, 133 total return yards, and that beat a 102-year-old record by some guy named Red Grange. Yeah, that's impressive. Not bad at all. Kennesaw State is at Indiana. That's at noon Eastern on FS1. Kennesaw State lost to Wake Forest 10-9 last week. Indiana beat Old Dominion 27-14. A lot of people didn't think Indiana beat Old Dominion as well as they should have. A little sluggish offensively with the passing game. The running game looks fine. I'm concerned. Fernando Mendoza is not Curtis Rourke. He needs to take a big step up here in week 2. Jonathan Brady had a punt return for 91 yards. And Roman Hemby, the transfer from Maryland, had 23 carries for 111 yards. So the Indiana ground game looks fine. Iowa is at Iowa State. Iowa State ranked 16th in the country. This is the big noon game on Fox. This is a big rivalry. And, of course, you all saw Iowa State get the big win in Ireland over Kansas State, the 55-7 blowout of South Dakota State last week. Meanwhile, Kirk Ferentz got win 205 last week to tie Woody Hayes. He wins this one. He's the all-time Big Ten leader in wins. He'll have 206. I'm a little concerned by their new quarterback, Mark Gronowski, who only threw for 44 yards against the Albany defense. Should have had a lot more there. Northwestern State is at Minnesota. That game is at noon on the Big Ten Network. Of course, Minnesota coming off the 23-10 win over Buffalo. Coy Parrish, he's playing safety. He's playing wide receiver. He's returning kicks. Darius Taylor, 30 carries last week. I thought it was a bit much. They needed him 30 carries to beat Buffalo. Let's spread it out a little bit. Let's not burn this guy out in the first couple of weeks. Grambling at number 1, Ohio State. Boy, you talk about a drop-off. Okay, this is going to be a 3:30 Eastern, by the way, on the Big Ten Network. You go from taking on what was formerly the number 1 team in the country in Texas. Now you're taking on Grambling. This will be a 50-point-plus victory for Ohio State. Matt, if you think Matt Patricia got the defense dialed in on Texas, wait to see what he does on Grambling. They probably won't score. And I also do think that they will take the training wheels off of Julian Sands since it's against Grambling. They're very conservative against Texas, giving him his first start. Now they can experiment a little bit, let him get his feet wet. Jeremiah Smith probably have a big day here as well. And then they host Ohio next, and then they're off to Washington to start Big Ten play. Oklahoma State is at number 6, Oregon. That's a 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific game on CBS and Paramount. Mike Gundy started talking about the haves and have-nots and complaining about Oregon having so much money, and he doesn't have money. I keep reminding him back when T. Boone Pickens was alive, Oklahoma State was like Nike and Oregon. I don't know what he's complaining about, but I think maybe Dan Lanning, who said we pay to compete, is going to show that they can compete. Dante Moore, nice, impressive game last week. 10 different receivers catching passes against Montana State. So I look for them to open it up even more offensively. And let's make sure they don't look ahead to the rivalry game against Oregon State. Miami of Ohio is at Rutgers. That's a 3:30 Eastern game on Peacock. Rutgers, of course, had a shootout to get things started in the Big Ten last Thursday with a 34-31 win over Ohio. They've been off 9 days. Ethan Kaliak-Manis had a couple touchdown passes, and Ian Strong had 100 yards receiving in that one. Meanwhile, Ohio, they're playing a lot of Big Ten, right? They got shut out by Wisconsin 17-0, but only trailed 3-0 at the half at that one. And they did knock Billy Edwards out of the game. So maybe they'll play some physical defense here. Middle Tennessee State is at Wisconsin, by the way, 4:00 Eastern on FS1. As I mentioned, Billy Edwards won't play because he got knocked out of the game last week. Knee sprain, though. Good news. The MRI came back clean. Not a problem. He'll rest this week, won't play. He'll be ready for Alabama, I think, next weekend. Danny O'Neal, who led 2 scoring drives last week, will be quarterback in the meantime. And Preston Zachman had a couple of interceptions that can keep that up. Remember, the defense threw a shutout. Michigan is at Oklahoma. That's at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Sherrone Moore's alma mater starts his 2-game suspension after this. Bryce Underwood looked pretty good last week. People are excited. Brent Venables, who is the head coach of Oklahoma, former defensive coordinator, great defensive coordinator when he was at Clemson. He has noticed. He says Bryce Underwood is just different. He's going to have to come up with something for him. And we are going to go live after that game right here. Right after the Michigan game versus Oklahoma, right after the final on-field interview, we're going to go live. Your live comments, my live reaction. We go live after the biggest game of the week every weekend. That's the game, okay? Michigan and Oklahoma. By the way, Oklahoma with a great quarterback and John Mateer as well. Akron is at Nebraska, and Nebraska 7:30 on the Big Ten Network, by the way, Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific. Under the lights at Memorial Stadium. Matt Rule's very excited about it. He's bringing in a lot of recruits for this. Dylan Raiola looking pretty good in that win against Cincinnati. But Malcolm Hartzog Jr. was the guy that saved the day with the game-winning interception. Emmett Johnson with 108 yards on the ground as well. Georgia Southern is at USC, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on FS1. Georgia Southern gave up 42 points to Fresno State. How many points do you think they're going to give up to USC, who scored 73 last week? Yeesh. We'll see how that one goes as well. And this thing should be over by halftime. And Lincoln Riley should be able to get into his depth chart a little bit and get some guys some playing time. Then USC's at Purdue and Michigan State. And then they got number 11, Illinois at the end of September. And then back home for Michigan and Notre Dame. So that middle of the schedule is coming up fast. Boston College, they are at Michigan State, 7:30 Eastern. This will be a Big Ten Saturday night game on NBC and Peacock, 4:30 Pacific. BC's coming off a win where they just beat Fordham 66-10. Yikes. This, though, was a good game last year when Michigan State was at Boston College. It was that red bandana game. It was in the rain. Aiden Childs threw 3 interceptions in this one, but I think he started to figure things out after this game last year. This is and by the way, remember, Thomas Castellanos was the quarterback for Boston College last year. He's the guy that transferred to Florida State and just beat Alabama. So he won't be quarterbacking for them this year. Southern Illinois is at Purdue, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network. Barry Odom and Ryan Brown, they beat Ball State 31-0 last week. Scored early and often. They could actually start 2-0 and double their win total from last year. And they should, because after that, it's USC, Notre Dame, and Illinois coming up fast. UCLA, I thought, had a very disappointing game, home loss against Utah. Now they're on the road at UNLV, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on CBS Sports Network. And Nico Iamaleava was just scrambling. The offensive line's got to get better for UCLA. And finally, UC Davis is at Washington, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific on the Big Ten Network. It's like Big Ten after dark with the Huskies. They just beat Colorado State last week. The defense, I thought, gave up a few too many points, but the offense was good. 509 yards. Jamal Williams looked good. Jonah Coleman had 177 yards, a couple touchdowns. Denzel Boston had 5 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. So there you have it. That's the slate. Those are the channels of the networks you can find it on. Quick thumbnail notes on all of them. Coming up, we'll have our Pigskin Picks. We got some other news going on around the Big Ten, by the way. Lou Holtz is still barking at Ryan Day. This argument's been going on for 2 years. What's the latest? We'll have the latest. In the meantime, hit that free subscribe button down below so you never miss a single episode, and share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com with the number 10. All of our podcasts go there, so you can check those out. And also, we have links if you want to buy your favorite school merchandise, shirts, T-shirts, and hats. All that right there as well at talkbig10.com. All right, the Lou Holtz battle with Ryan Day, that's coming up next. And our bold Pigskin Picks around the corner as well on Locked On Big Ten. You know, it's this weekend. We're here to go. Now, you can look back, and we're going to crown this week's MVP in just a minute. You know, who delivered? This is powered by DoorDash. And just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, just keep ordering every Saturday. Save more every time you order. And these players, they deliver when it matters most as well. So let's break it all down. Jonah Coleman's the one I want to talk about this week. Just mentioned him a moment ago for Washington. 177 yards on the ground to lead the Big Ten in rushing thus far. He's the real deal. He delivers all the time. Very reliable. And just like Jonah Coleman delivered for the Huskies, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. All right? With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday that you order. Stack them up all season long, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive, and that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more than safety. It's won more 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anybody else. So check them out. Whether it's a quick drive to practice or weekend road trip, Mazda makes even everyday drives feel special. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Thank you so much, especially you everydayers out there that make us go. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, and check out our website, talkbig10.com. Oh, we have audio version also. If you like Apple or Spotify, you can check us out there too, just letting you know. Now, apparently former Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz and Ohio State coach Ryan Day, I guess they're still going at it. You remember 2 years ago? I remember talking about it on this podcast. Lou Holtz questioned Ohio State's toughness ahead of the Notre Dame-Ohio State game. Then Ohio State won 17-14. And in the post-game interview on the field, Ryan Day just started yelling, "Where's Lou Holtz now?" By the way, Lou Holtz is like 88 years old now. Holtz is still questioning the strength of Ohio State despite their 14-7 win over Texas on Saturday. He says, when you get outgained at home by over 100 yards, that's not great. He has a point. Texas did outgain Ohio State 336 to 203 in yardage. Holtz, of course, just keep going at it. He's doing these interviews, and he didn't hold it just to his criticism of Ohio State. He says the whole Big Ten. Says the Big Ten doesn't have that many great teams this year. I beg to differ. Former Ohio State running back, as long as we're talking about them, Quinshon Judkins. He was instrumental in the Buckeyes national championship last year. He's had some legal problems since Cleveland drafted him in the NFL draft this spring. And because of his legal issues, he didn't have a contract yet. And he may even be facing an NFL suspension. And since he hasn't signed a contract yet, there is a loophole where he could go back to college, but I don't think that's in his plans right now. But he is accused of domestic violence in Fort Lauderdale. The Oregon Ducks were keeping an eye on one of their commits, 2026 five-star edge rusher Anthony Jones. He committed last month. He's from the state of Alabama. Remember him? He's on flip watch. Alabama's still coming after him. By the way, he's a Tide fan, although maybe not after last weekend. Alabama, Auburn, A&M, all after him. He's still taking visits. Miami got him on campus before the Notre Dame game. Keep an eye on him. Dan Lanning, keep an eye on him. We did a podcast this week about Mike Gundy of Oklahoma State complaining before he has to take on Oregon, complaining about the haves and the have-nots. And Oregon is one of the haves. He claims Oregon's roster has been paid $40 million in name, image, and likeness. And he says that he at Oklahoma State is only worth about $7 million. Remember, he had T. Boone Pickens just doling out the game. He was the oil man before he died. He was just Oklahoma State was Oregon back in the day, not too long ago. Interesting little back and forth. We'll see how that game goes. There's a new college sports commission, as you know, after the House settlement agreement this summer, and it reviews all name, image, and likeness deals, and they make sure that everything's legit, all of them. That's a lot, right? 8,300 different name, image, and likeness deals totaling $80 million. Over 300 deals have yet to be closed yet. They're trying to get them all done, obviously, as the season's going on here. Any deal above $600 gets reviewed. There's no more no-show jobs where, there's no more, hey, we'll give you $2 million. You come play football for us. That's over. The value has to have a job or a service attached to it for what everybody agrees is a reasonable amount of money. And for $2 million, you got to appear in ads and make appearances and sign jerseys or speaking engagements or something. You got to work for it now. So anyway, I just want to give you an idea of how much it was. Over 8,000 deals for $80 million. across college football. All right. It is time. It is time to go on the record with our bold predictions. Our Pigskin Picks is coming up next. We do this every Friday right here on Locked On Big Ten. Are you still paying full price for gas? You don't have to with Upside. Upside, stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play, and you can start earning cash at the pump right away. And I'm even going to give you a limited time promo code, the word football. Football. Y'all can remember that and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can save like $300 a year off of this deal. And the payback is great. You can have the money back in your bank account, PayPal, e-gift card, Amazon, whatever you want. Make it very, very convenient. Don't let this offer drive by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code football for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's the promo code football. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. You watching games? They're exciting, right? They're even more exciting if you have something on them with FanDuel. The NFL season is here. We are underway. And FanDuel is making sure you're ready with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets across the app. Whether you want to do point spreads, player props, over, under, totals, futures, you name it, you can do it. Very easy to move around on the app and quick paybacks too when you win. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and get started. That's FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. It's time for our Pigskin Picks, where we go on the record, fearless and bold. I'll put it full screen here in case you're audio only, so you can check it out. And we're going to start off with the two Friday night games here tonight. Western Illinois at Northwestern. Now, Northwestern is actually a 28.5-point favorite here, and the total's 51.5. I'm going to tell you what. Neither team has scored a touchdown this year. There's no way I'm taking Northwestern to cover. Northwestern will win. They're not going to cover the 28.5, and these two teams are certainly not going to climb over 51.5. I would be stunned. Take the under on this one. Northern Illinois at Maryland. Maryland is a 16-point favorite. I like this Maryland offense. I think they can cover this number, and if they do, I would ride the over 45.5 on this game. So those are the Friday games. Let's take a look now. Everything else is on Saturday. We'll start it off with Florida International at Penn State. And, because Penn State kind of got things rolling last week, another quote-unquote easier opponent, I think they just keep rolling and building on their lead. This is a 6-touchdown favorite, 42.5 points. I think they get there, and I don't know if they hit the under. I mean, I could see them winning this game like 50-3. It'd be right under the number. I don't like the over, but I do like. You know what? If Penn State gets the over or gets the number at 42.5, if they cover, I'll take the over at 54.5 here. Illinois is at Duke. This line bothers me. Illinois is only a 3.5-point favorite. I just saw another line before we came on, 2.5. What's going on here? Illinois is very good. Duke is not as good. I'm having a hard time figuring this one out. So, I think Illinois wins this game. I think they cover. And I think that number is probably pretty close to being. I would stay away from the over-under on this one. You know what? This is bold and fearless. Let's go over. Illinois covers. They win, and we go over the number. Kennesaw State and Indiana. Indiana, 36.5-point favorite. The number's 52.5. They did not. We'll see if they work some things out after the Old Dominion game. I think they did. I think Kurt Cignetti, I think they're going to get some bugs worked out. I think Indiana blows out Kennesaw State, wins by 40. And I think they get over the number at 52.5 this week. If they don't, and we compare the notes to the Old Dominion game, I'm going to suggest maybe we got a little bit of a problem with Indiana. Not catastrophic, but they're not going to win double-digit games if that's the case. Iowa is at Iowa State. This is the big rivalry game. This is the one Kirk Ferentz is going for the record, the all-time record. Iowa State's a 3.5-point favorite. 45.5 points on this one for the total. Here's the deal. I'm sad to say this. I think Iowa State's better. I think Iowa State wins and covers. So I think Kirk Ferentz has to wait another week before he gets the Woody Hayes record. By the way, they play UMass next week. That should be much more manageable. And when Iowa and Iowa State get together, I'm taking the under 45.5. All right. Northwestern State is at Minnesota. You can't get a line. There's probably going to be a 40-point game. Same thing with Grambling at Ohio State. No line available as of our broadcast, and that's probably going to be a 50-point game. Elsewhere, Oklahoma State is at Oregon. Not only is Oregon going to win this game, I think Dan Lanning is upset with Mike Gundy's comments this week that we just talked about. They're going to pour it on, and they're going to cover the 28.5, and they're going to blow past the 56.5. So, yeah, I think there's going to be points on both sides, actually. But Oregon is going to pour it on. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. I will say this is a slam dunk over, and Oregon covers. Miami of Ohio is at Rutgers. Rutgers is high-flying these days with that offense. They had a close game against Ohio. I think this could be close, too. I have respect for the MAC. Rutgers wins, maybe by a touchdown. I don't think they cover the 15.5. I do think these teams fly past this number. I think both teams are going to score in this game. Give me the over 45.5. Middle Tennessee State is at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a 28.5-point favorite, and the over-under is 45.5. I don't like either of these numbers. Wisconsin wins. Billy Edwards is out. Remember, they only scored 3 points last week in the half. I think Wisconsin wins, maybe by 2 touchdowns, maybe by 3. But they're not going to cover the 28.5, and I don't think they're going to cover the over. Take the under, 45.5, until they get that offense straightened out. Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 5.5-point favorite. The number's 45.5. I am here to tell you right now, this is the bold prediction of the week. Michigan's going there to win this game. Bryce Underwood takes a step forward even from what he did last week. John Mateer, he's a great quarterback at Oklahoma. There's going to be a lot of points. This number flies past the over. 45.5. Take the over. Take Michigan for the upset. Akron is at Nebraska. Again, I don't know if Nebraska is at the point where they can blow anybody out by 34.5. I can see a 3-touchdown win and take the under 47.5. And finally, Georgia Southern. They are at USC. USC scored 73 points last night. Georgia gave up a bunch of points. USC covers the 28.5, and this game flies past the over at 61.5 points. The only reason it wouldn't is if Georgia Southern gets shut out. They might, but give me USC to cover and give me the over on this game. All right, here are the final games. Boston College at Michigan State. Michigan State's a 4.5-point favorite. I like Sparty in this game, and I like the over at 46.5. Can't get a number on Southern Illinois at Purdue. UCLA at UNLV. UNLV, a home dog. I would take UNLV on this one until I see UCLA's offense run better and the offensive line run better. I do like the over here at 53.5, and no line on UC Davis and Washington. Washington will win in a blowout here. So there you have it. Our bold and fearless pigskin picks right down the line. What do you think? Did I get any right? Get any wrong? Let me know. If you disagree with me, hit me up in the comment section as well. Heading into the weekend, I would love to hear from you on all of that. We're here every day with the latest news, analysis, opinion, all that stuff, all 18 teams here in the Big Ten, audio or video, whatever you want. Many ways for you to interact with us. We're on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. Whatever you do, hit that free subscribe button before you go. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And we also ask you, share and like and follow us and tell your other Big Ten friends that we're out here every day. Once again, a couple options here. Hang around, watch a second episode. Maybe you missed them this week. Get caught up. Always invite you for a second listen. Don't forget, we're live after the Michigan-Oklahoma game right here. Hope to see you there. And don't forget that Locked On is doing something else big. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the college football kickoff. your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation, along with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson. Also, Jesse Holly and our Locked On experts on the panel. College football preview, only Locked On can do it this way. Catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That will do it for us. Have a great weekend. See you live Saturday night. Can't wait to talk about weekend number 2 around the Big Ten for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you next time.